Welcome to Louisiana Heartbeats. I'm Sudie Landry, your host today. And with us, we have a gentleman known as the Cookbook Dude. Now, who is the Cookbook Dude? He is Neal Bertrand from Opelousas, Louisiana, raised, I understand, and born there. And he has published several cookbooks that you may want to stay tuned to because it's very simple meals. And we have some samples here. So I'm going to intro him right now. And thank you for coming on the show, Neal.
Great to be here.
Well, thank you for receiving and accepting our invitation to come. It was nice meeting you. You were at another event in Lafayette, and you snuck in some of your chocolate candy that you had cooked. Now, what makes you so different from all the other cookbook people I have seen, in my own opinion? This is very neat, and it's easy. So let's talk about what you do and why.
Well, I wanted to produce some cookbooks that could take the burden off of people because people are so busy, and they're busy with kids at school, homework, work, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to produce some books that would help the people, the women, the men, the husbands and the wives with their daily life to take the burden of feeding their family and having them produce good, economical foods that are, I'd say, healthier than the average fast food place that they would buy food from. So some preparation ahead of time could produce a good economical meal to feed your family.
Okay, Neal, now let's talk about some history of how before you actually where you are now. Give us some steps of what you went through.
Well, I used to work for a publishing company, and I had on-the-job training there. And one day we had a unsolicited manuscript come in for a coloring book. I showed it to my boss, and he did not want to publish it. But he said, if you want to do it, I give you the permission, I release it to you. So I published this Cajun Country Fun coloring and activity book. And the artist is Keith Duyon, who has, in the past several years, become a YouTube sensation. And he goes by the name of Couillon Duyon.
Wow.
And so he is a witty guy, as if you've seen his videos, you would know. And so I published this for him in 2001. And from there, I published a book by the name of Down Home Cajun Cooking Favorites. And we did this in 2006. And this has sold multiple thousands of books.
What kind of recipes is in that book?
This is 140 classic Cajun recipes, such as beignets, buttermilk pie, couscous, cracklings, French toast. You got things like fried crawfish. We got jambalayas. We got sauce pecans and gumbo.
Okay, stop where you at. I think I'm hungry enough to eat the book. The book page is wonderful. Who did that artwork for you on that page?
The food stylist was Sandra Day, and the photographer was Doug Dugas, who's a local boy, a good friend of mine.
Well, it looks like you have not only an attractive book, you have some wonderful recipes, and the artist that did that is awesome. I mean, the photography is wonderful. All right.
Well, then after this, in 2008, I decided to to write and publish rice cooker meals. And the reason this came about is back around 1996, I was proofreading a cookbook for another publisher, another food writer and author, and I came across a jambalaya cooked in a rice cooker. And I said, whoa, in a rice cooker? Of course, we've been cooking rice since I was a kid. I'd help Mom and Daddy cook rice in the rice pot. And so when I saw this was a meal cooked in a rice cooker, I said, well, I think I want to try this. So I tried it, and it was awesome. So easy, even I could do it.
And what was the name of that recipe?
It was crawfish jambalaya.
Mm-hmm. Good old Cajun
And
tradition.
so that was my next book that I did. And then a couple of years after that, in 2010, I published Slow Cooker Meals. They got 125 meals that you can cook in a slow cooker. And I guess the hit of the show, whenever I do a cooking demo, is I have 17 desserts in here that you can cook in a slow cooker. And when I am at an event and I say, would you like to try some chocolate cooked in a slow cooker, it stops them in their tracks.
Yes, I know. I pulled that little stunt at our last meeting. No one had really noticed that you had at that time brought in your candy that you had already told me was done in the crock pot.
Uh-huh.
And so I decided to, hey, did y'all know what this is some candy? Did anybody try this? And when I said crock pot, everybody wanted a piece. You were lucky you even walked out of there. Did you walk out with any samples?
I don't
left?
think so.
I don't think so either. Well, let's go and to the third book, but I'm going to go back over those books again after you finish this. Tell us a little bit more about your third book.
The slow cooker book.
Slow cooker book. Now,
Okay, I solicited help from the LSU Ag Center Homemakers Clubs, and they had helped me previously on the Rice Cooker Meals cookbook. And so there's clubs around the state, and so I said, why don't you send to me your family favorites that you cook at home that your kids and your people, your family members like. And so they did, and so I compiled their family favorites, plus I took about 30 recipes from my Rice Cooker Meals book, and I converted them to work in a slow cooker.
now, what is the difference and why the two separate books, rice cooker, slow cooker?
Most people know what a slow cooker is, which I have right here. This has been out for a while, and it's common knowledge that you can cook a meal in a crock pot. You can cook roast and so on and so forth, right? That's old news.
Slow cooker and crock pot, same
Same thing.
Okay.
Crock pot is the name that one of the manufacturers gave it, and then they trademarked that name, crock pot.
There you go.
So what I did was I took 17 desserts that they sent to me, and I put those in the book. And when you mentioned, when I do a cooking event, and I said, would you like to try some nutty chocolate fudge cooked in a slow cooker? They, what? In a slow cooker? And this is what I have here. I brought you a sample of some that I cooked in a slow cooker, and give it a shot and see what it tastes like.
I already did. I had chocolate all over my teeth. But I'll do it again if you keep talking.
So anyway, we have a peach cobbler, which I have on the back cover. Peach cobbler, we have apple cobbler, cherry cobbler. Another one that I did, which is similar to this, is chocolate peanut clusters. It's a slightly different recipe. You dump all your peanuts and your chocolate and turn it on low for about 3 hours. When it's done, you take a big old spoonful and you pour it over parchment paper and let it cool and harden.
Okay.
And then you get a sharp knife and you cut it into squares like that.
I have a question. That's just me going to ask it. Hope I don't get in trouble for it. But is it faster or is it slower? Sorry, had to do that.
It's home
Dinner
cooked.
regular, it's home cooked.
It's
either
home
way.
cooked.
Okay.
What does it matter?
Love to put into it. It doesn't. Good answer. Good answer. First of all, it's a crock pot. And it's
you
doing the job for you.
You know what you're putting in
That's
there.
right. That's right.
There's no preservatives or any of that other stuff that could be harmful, right?
That was a good answer.
Thank you.
But I'm curious, okay, now when it comes to, you do a lot, in other words, in my understanding, the crock pot, you've done a lot of desserts in that, mostly, and you have done some hot meals in there
Oh,
also.
yeah.
But you favor that because it does take a lot of love and tender care to really produce a good candy.
I favor it when I'm doing a cooking demo
Demos?
because people love desserts and
Okay.
people love chocolate.
Okay,
And
great.
if what's fun is to offer something to a prospect walking through the doors of the bookstore where I'm giving a demo, and they say, no, thank you. Then I say, I've got chocolate. You can see them put on the brakes and do a 180 and come back and try it,
That's
and I'll
true.
sell them a book in
That's
most
true.
cases.
I watched the video. It works too. It really did. When it comes to your rice cooker, then you've produced more recipes in the rice cooker than you have in the.
I have 60 meals that you can cook in your home in the rice pot. And what I like about this, and what I hear testimonies all the time from people who have used my book, okay? They love it because it's so easy. I have a meal in here called spaghetti and meatballs, and people are just blown away how easy it is. And if they follow my instructions, it's a simple thing. I have a lady, to tell you how far and wide this book has spread. I have a soldier who is stationed in South Korea. She is from Henderson. She bought my book around the Henderson-Brewer Bridge area. She brought it with her with a rice cooker to Korea, and she is able to cook her meal in the barracks,
Wow.
because you're not allowed to have a device that produces a flame. So because this is a non-flammable, she can cook her meal in the barracks, and she is spreading the word to all the other soldiers around that this book, Rice Cooker Meals, along with her rice cooker, can cook a good meal in the barracks.
Well, I'm laughing right now because I'm thinking, Neal, where were you when my granddaughter was collecting items to be able to cook when she was in Iraq? I mean, Lord, she had everything but the kitchen sink, but I find out she should have had a rice cooker because that's exactly the kind of cooking that she was doing out there.
Well, this
The
is
hard
the
way.
season. This
But the
is
hard way. So, but that is very good. So let me, where'd you get all this experience? Did you go to school for cooking or something?
I did not.
Why?
Actually, when Mom and Dad tried to get me to cook at home and help me out, I'd rather go play outside. So it was like pulling teeth to get me to help chop an onion or a bell pepper. So I got my experience literally from cooking these meals in the rice cooker book at home, experimenting, putting the ingredients in the rice cooker. And Sudie, let me tell you how simple this is. Chop your vegetables. You have onion, bell pepper, you have some garlic. You have a pound of link sausage of your choice. You can use whatever brand you want. I use beef sausage. Chop up the sausage. I use a half a stick of butter, little 10 ounces of rice. Put it all in the pot. Give it a stir. Plug it in. Turn it on. And this was cooked in 30 minutes.
And what is the name of that dish?
Black-eyed pea and sausage jambalaya.
Which I know for a fact is delicious because I have already cooked this several years ago. And when I got ready, Neal, to cook this, my family said, what are you cooking? I knew I love black-eyed peas. But not everybody in my family likes black-eyed peas. But when I got through putting in exactly what you said and they tasted it, it was like it was gone. So I know this is good. It was unbelievable. How simple, how delicious, not overly seasoned. It was wonderful.
I did not add any salt or pepper or seasoning to
I'm
it.
glad you brought that up. Okay. And it was wonderful.
The flavor is from maybe the meat. Now, I like to brown my sausage on the stove before I put it in, because it gives it a little different flavor of browned sausage once you put it in the rice cooker. And so,
Let me add something to that. First of all, I love cookbooks. I've been a part of creating cookbooks with a lot of other people. I love the cookbooks I purchase because I buy the ones I'm actually going to use. Most people will buy cookbooks and not really use them. And I have ones you can tell, like a Bible. It's been used so well it's fallen apart. You can
Right.
tell which ones I prefer. And this rice cooker meal book, I honestly gave it up at an event hoping to showcase you and what you were doing, and that recipe, I believe, is in that cookbook, because I made your black-eyed peas and sausage. And the reason I said that, Neil, is that it's so hard when you're used to cooking, especially Cajun cooks, and you're from this area. I'm just a transplant. So I would always follow the recipes until I learned how to cook it, then I may adjust it, which a normal good cook is gonna adjust the taste, maybe. Some
Right.
like it, like they say, with more fire, and some didn't. But when I took this recipe, didn't adjust it in any way, and cooked it without any extra salt or whatever you said not to do, it was wonderful. And I said that to say this: with other recipes you can cook in other cookbooks, and especially I blog on cookbooking and cooking, and you can get, well, I did this and I did this, and I love those suggestions. Do you ever run across something that maybe helps you tweak your own recipe and make it a little bit better in your eyes, or not?
I like to experiment.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you don't like black-eyed peas, well, use a different kind of pea
There you go.
or bean.
Okay,
You know, try it with the red beans. Try it with white beans.
right.
Okay? You can use, instead of the canned, which I use, if you are against canned food and you want to do it, you know, from scratch, why don't you soak you some beans of your choice overnight and use those?
Okay, you had mentioned why, okay, first of all, why you prefer and why you wanted to create these simple meals. And I love what, I'm gonna quote you on this. You said, you figured, why cook when you can open up a can of whatever, and nuke it in the microwave and carry on with your life? But because you are not a chef, you said you're no foodie, but you do like to eat. So is that the reason you created all these cookbooks? I mean, it come out good. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You say all this stuff, and then you turn around and you've created some wonderful recipes.
Well, that's
This is
right.
gonna benefit everybody.
I'm not a foodie. As a matter of fact, I didn't know what a lot of these ingredients were when I started doing all this. I had to find out by going to the store and looking and seeing what some of these ingredients were. Especially for the candy, I didn't know what almond bark was. That did not put a pretty picture in my mind.
Bark.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And so, yeah, some of these recipes, ingredients, I didn't know what they were. And hey, I'm just a country boy, okay? So,
Cajun country boy.
Cajun country boy, nothing fancy about me. I'm an open book. What you see is what you get.
Local guy.
Yeah, and so, well, I've been here in Lafayette since 1975.
Which, let's back up. I think that's when you started all this, in the 1970s. I believe you mentioned that.
I started this, well, like I said, I cooked that first crawfish jambalaya around 1995,
Okay.
okay? And that experience never left me because it was so easy to do. But I started my adventure in the cookbook arena around 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, have you got anything else planned in the making that's going to be along the same line, or have you got a different?
Well, I have
Idea in
a
mind.
son of mine who is in the St. Louis area who graduated from culinary school, he and his wife, and he is helping to put together another book that I can publish.
So you didn't go to any kind of college or school, but your child, your son, is going.
Yeah, I just hire the brains.
That's smart thinking. Smart thinking. Okay, let's talk about the ingredients. You even said, I was reading, a little bit about who the author was. That's you, Neal Bertrand, out of Opelousas, the cookbook dude. And you said that you even had some well-known cooks and chefs. I guess they tasted your food, tested your food, and sent in their testimonies how good. I know because I read them. You want to name some of those local guys? Are they around here?
These are people from the LSU Ag Center Homemakers Clubs.
Okay.
Okay? And what better cook can you get than a maman or a papa who has been cooking for 50 or more years to test your recipe and give a rave review like they did in the Rice Cooker Meals cookbook?
Right.
I asked them, when I sent these meals off to be tested. I tested them, I cooked them first. Then I sent them off for these people to cook to see what they thought, and they gave me some rave reviews. They said, this is, depending on the meal, they said, this is perfect, don't change a thing. Other people gave comments like, well, instead of using such and such, I use low-fat, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. They're experimenting. They're not set in stone as to this has got to be this way.
Well, we're in Cajun land, which rice is the main staple of the meal. And I know for a fact, I'm a transplant, and I come from an area, even though it's only 4 hours away, Shreveport, Louisiana. The only way we ate rice was in rice pudding, and that was rare, and I didn't like it, because I didn't like sweetened rice, okay? Now, people who did not know what a rice cooker were, and I took a rice cooker to Arkansas, then I decided to go shopping for some of those Cajun seasonings, which at that time Walmart didn't have any of those, not even the coffee out there. You can go anywhere in the world almost now, and I think you're going to find something Cajun somewhere. So people in Cajun land, you say rice cooker, they know what that is. You say crock pot, they know what that is. But the whole point is they are wonderful cooks out here. We have wonderful, well-known chefs out here, too. So have you had any local chef combine with you in any kind of event so far?
Not yet.
Okay. I think it's going to happen.
I'm hoping it does.
All right, that's good. Well, as we are talking about your cook, there's a whole lot of other things you do besides just publishing cookbooks. What else do you have going on, Neal?
Well,
This is wonderful. Thank
I
you.
got into, well, as you know, the coloring book was the first book that I published for someone else, okay? I published another book for a friend of mine, and she wrote a historical novel called A House for Eliza, and her name is Constance Moniz. That's her pen name, which is actually her maiden name. People know her around Lafayette by the name of Connie Grimion.
Okay.
On the front cover is her, the 1893 wedding photos of her grandmother and grandfather. They had a 2,000-acre plantation here in Lafayette, and it spanned between University and Moss Street,
Okay.
from I-10 south to Congress.
Okay.
That's 2,000 acres. And they raised 17 children through the Great Depression and 2 World Wars. And they had help on the plantation from freed slaves and descendants of freed slaves. So I told her that I would publish her book for her, and we have some amazing testimonials and reviews on the back of the book from Jim Bradshaw, Carl Brasso, and former Senator John Breaux.
Okay. So now we're rolling into getting closer to the end of the show. I'm going to recap what we're talked about here. Number one, Acadiana, not only does Neal produce cookbooks, he's tested all the recipes, but he's also created his own publishing company, which we're going to have you back for another show, and we're going to talk more about that.
Wonderful.
So let me ask you right now, do you want to share with us the wonderful people who have helped you get to where you are now by producing these books? I'm saying your friends, your family, graphics artists, whoever. You want to kind of give them some recognition?
Well, my son, Stephen Bertrand in Illinois,
Okay.
he helped me with the rice cooker book. My son, Jeremy Bertrand, my firstborn son, my right-hand man, he has helped me with the technical aspects, with the computer design, the website, and so on and so forth. And just different people around the area who have helped in the past.
Okay, I want to say this. If anyone is interested in everything that you are already connected to, then all they would need to do would be check out your webpage. And of course, it's up there, so what is it?
Cookbookdude.com. That's because I'm the cookbook dude from South Louisiana.
And that's a very good name. Now, we're talking about cookbooks for the rice cooker, for the slow cooker, and for the person who just doesn't like to spend a whole lot of time but loves eating good food, right?
That's right.
This is the recipes for them.
That's for them.
I know. I've already made that black
black-eyed pea, and sausage jambalaya.
Thinking about making the candy. I
So
know
simple.
I know it sounds too good to be true. But I can tell you right now, we're at the end of the show, and I want to thank you for coming on. You have been watching Louisiana Heartbeats, and today we had Neal Bertrand, who is known as a cookbook dude, and I mean, he has brought us in some great recipes. Tune in every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. You'll either see me with Louisiana Heartbeats, Sudie Landry, or Wayne Landry with LA Gospel Beats. Until then, it just might be you that we're showcasing, or Neal.
Thank you.